Britta.
Probably.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I just said, "Hey, how's it going? What are you doing?" That's basically what I said.
What up?
What's that? I don't know if you remember
What's
those.
up?
You remember the? Yeah, I'm 36, and even those jokes, people are like, What? I don't know what that is." What's up, everyone? Scotty from Chernobyl Studios, and I have a very awesome guest with me today whose name I am going to butcher. I hope she forgives me, and you better forgive me as well. But we have Britta here from Hiraes, the awesome German band, which, if you haven't checked out their stuff on Bandcamp, you absolutely should. I bought the new album about a week ago, and I've been listening to it a lot. It has a lot of elements of music that I really like, some kind of Viking-esque style stuff, melodic, it's heavy, blast beats, and most important, awesome vocals from Britta herself. And we're going to talk a bit more about that. So, Britta, how you doing?
Hi, Scott. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing fine. Thank you. How are you?
Um, I'm sweating a little bit after that intro because I said your name like 3 or 4 times, and my palms are legitimately palmy now. So,
You
hopefully,
pronounce it well. You pronounce it well.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. So, yeah, right off the bat, the main reason we're chatting today is because you've teamed up with Quota, as far as I can understand, to really set the record straight, for lack of a better term, how to do metal screaming vocals. All right, and I'm not a vocalist, so I was very keen to see the information that you presented in this video, and um, it's legit. Like anyone out there who is wanting to learn how to scream, is screaming right now and sort of struggling, or just would probably want to get better at their craft, this is literally the information that you would need to get because it's very well put together. It's concise, informative, all the information you could possibly want to know anatomically, how to do what, where, why. Literally, it's everything that I try to aspire to do when I do courses, answering all those questions. So first and foremost, amazing job on the course.
Thank
I
you so
really
much. Thank
enjoyed
you
it.
so much.
Yeah, as a non-vocalist, I understand way more now about what you have to do in order to train your voice and to be a good vocalist. And it's going to help me a lot when I'm mixing and get projects from people where I might be able to say, "Hey, let's try doing it this way. Do this with your body," and so on and so forth. So, for me as a non-vocalist, two thumbs way up. It was awesome.
Thank you. That's making me really happy to hear. I mean, like I've been teaching for years. I'm doing workshops. I'm doing one-on-one sessions with people like for many years now, and I got asked a lot. Like, Britta, do you have a course out there? Like, can we see a video where you explain everything so that we can go back and forth all the time? And I was like, at first I was a little hesitant to do that because there's just so much good stuff out there already. Um, but then, yeah, I teamed up with Kola, and I'm really, really happy that he introduced me to the ProMix Academy people. They are so lovely people, and yeah, at the moment, like I couldn't be happier with it, and it's a lot of work, but I think it's all worth it. And so far, the course like is pretty well received.
It's a and as it should be because it's very concise, but also has all the information that someone should know. Like I think the overall course is like 3 hours, give or take, but every video is very well put together, very well explained. And that's very important. When I create my own things, it's like, okay, what does a person actually need to know? And how do we get them to the position where they can do what they want to do? You do that perfectly. And so I would like to ask some more detailed questions about what you put in the course a little bit, if that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So I have to look at my monitor because I can't remember everything. All right. So, like I said, a very comprehensive technique. You talk about techniques, how to breathe, exercises that actually work, which is, you know, how YouTube is sometimes with, top 10 ways to get vocals, and a lot of the top 10 ways are shaky. But in this course, you go into detail about the actual anatomy of singing, which I found particularly impressive because I don't know. I was like, oh wow, okay. Oh, false chords are real things. It's not just some made up thingy, right? And so finding out the information, finding out all of this information, was that sort of an organic thing as you were like trying to learn how to do this, or did you actively seek out like, what is this? How does this work? How do I do that? Because it's all very practical, and in general, that information really impressed me. So how did you actually come to know all of this stuff, basically?
Well, I've been a metal singer for like, I don't know, like something like 18 or 19 years now. So I have a lot of experience. And when I started back in the days, like there were no YouTube tutorials, and there wasn't just a lot of information out there to just get my own knowledge from. So I tried, I failed, I tried, I failed, and I learned from my mistakes. And I made many mistakes. I probably made all of them. And so like I kind of had to dig myself out of the problems again and again and over. And so yeah, I just like gathered knowledge here, knowledge there. And then I just found out that learning about the anatomy and what is actually going on helped me picture my instrument way better and find out like why am I failing? Why isn't this working when I'm doing it like that? So a voice is a very unique instrument. I mean, we can't see it. Everything about your own voice is unique, and you don't know that when you explain something to someone that it will feel the same to them. So that makes it really like a trip in the dark, where it's like, okay, go to the right, go to the left, no, a little farther back. So this is yeah, the daily job that I have as a teacher. And so I build up upon that. I learned what is working well for me, also how to be to build up some stamina, some consistency when being on tour and having to do that 3 weeks or longer in a row. And yeah, that's how I learned, like on myself. And then of course in my daily work with my students, they asked me so many questions every day, and I learn through their questions every day, and I dig deeper into the knowledge that's out there. So yeah, that's basically all compressed into this course.
Sure. I mean, that's very true. Like it's happened to me as well. When I do something, I've sort of figured it out, and then someone's like, how do you do that? And you sort of have to be like, yeah, how do I do that? And you almost have to reverse engineer. Okay, I do this, and then I do this. All right, fine. But how do I actually explain that to somebody? So do you feel being a teacher has sort of resulted in you being a better vocalist?
I couldn't have phrased it any better. I'm teaching now for, I would say, like roughly like 4 or 5 years, and for the last 2 years it has been like my profession. Like I'm a self-employed vocal teacher now, and this is how I make my living. And so yeah, they asked me, I reverse engineer and then gain more clarity for myself, and also like through being confronted with so many different voices, like every day, like I pick up like little creature sound here, a little deeper growl here, and right. Try just to implement that into my own vocal vocabulary. Yeah, so yeah, it has made me a better singer, definitely.
That's awesome. So it's a win-win for everyone here. So the more,
hopefully.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, no one can argue with how well your vocals sound. That's the facts. So you did mention something a little bit earlier about the anatomy, and in the course you discussed, vocal health. And obviously there are ways to protect yourself, to do things correctly, so on and so forth. You can really put yourself at risk doing these kind of vocals, which is something that I was like, yeah, well, whatever. You can put yourself at risk, playing guitar slouched over for hours a day, which is true. But I never really thought of it like a vocalist can like seriously damage themselves. So someone who's just getting started, they're an aspiring vocalist. Probably what would you say is the most common mistake that can very seriously have long-term negative effects?
Well, I have to say that this goes for all kind of vocals, not just like the harsh vocals. You can have put a lot of wrong pressure on your larynx, on your vocal apparatus, and have an imbalanced way of singing. But that will, on the long run, damage your vocal cords, no matter if you sing like in a more operatic, symphonic style, or if you sing rock, pop, whatever, or harsh metal vocals. So that's really no difference there. I think the main focus on the metal vocals is it sounds damaging, and that's why people assume that it has to be damaging.
Fair.
But there is a difference between, when there's a hammer falling onto your toe and you scream out of pain, and a metal vocalist who screams on stage, there is a difference, because what we metal vocalists do, like we try to form the sound to give the impression that it is very loud, very explosive, while it actually isn't. Like we do it controlled. It's one thing, for example, like if you compare to an athlete, to run and make a long jump, or like to just have to run away from something that you're in danger of. So definitely, like it takes a lot of training and practice to get to that point. But I would say that the common mistake that people make who are trying to do some false chord technique, to do some fry technique, is they, for one thing, they overthink it a little bit, and they try to be stiff in the neck, while you want something to be, oscillating, vibrating, and that part needs to be flexible. So whether or not you're saying like this part here, it's like relaxed. So you have to focus on your face expression to make the sound good, and you have to be an expert in breathing support to make it sound like that.
That's very interesting actually with the facial expression that you just mentioned. Just right now, it just brought me back to one of my first couple of lessons when I was learning Russian. In order to do certain syllables, you have to form your mouth in a particular way. And now it's like you say what you just said now, it makes perfect sense. Like, right, yeah, you should be doing something with your mouth instead of trying to do everything in your throat, I suppose. But seems logical, but when you're not a vocalist like me, these things don't come to you like, oh, I get it now. I mean, that doesn't happen, Posture, I wanted to mention about that. In the course, you talk about breathing, like it's breathe, proper breathing, posture. Here's how to breathe. Here's how not to breathe. So that's very good. So let's actually touch on the posture a little bit. In your opinion, or possibly in theory, like how long would a seasoned vocalist need to warm up with a breathing exercise and so on, as compared to a novice? Is it pretty much like, well, here's what you always have to do no matter what, or is your body gonna, like you mentioned about athletes who are training to a degree, is your body eventually going to be like, yep, we got it. We don't need to sit here for 20 minutes and do this. We're good to go. Or is that just something that, nope, I am going to spend 20 minutes on this every time before I start just singing? What do you think about that?
I don't think that I can give a general answer because as a vocalist, like it's as unique as your voice is. So everyone should really put effort into finding what's good for them. For me personally, it's like, it depends on the day. Like when I have a weekend show and I've worked all week, I probably need a little longer to warm up for my own show than being on tour. When you do something every day and it's like a well-oiled machine, I want to say, the whole body, the posture, how you're preparing for your stage action, you kind of like snap into that a little easier. It's always good to have a healthy body, to have a warmed up body when you want to pursue metal vocals. But I would say that I would warm up probably like 20 minutes, 25 minutes before a single show. And when I'm on tour, I can probably go down to like 10 minutes, I would say,
That's
before I
interesting.
feel that everything is where it should be.
That's really interesting. I had a question later on where I was like, hey, what's the difference between warming up and staying healthy for a tour versus just a one-off? And I thought it would be the opposite, where like you're healthy as in you haven't been singing for 2 weeks straight, so you would need to, so it's exactly the opposite. So if you're cold going into the show, it's important to maybe take some extra care to get fully warmed up, as opposed to, if you're grinding on a tour, you probably don't want to warm up as much to stay healthy. Am I getting this backwards, or am I sort of in the ballpark?
Well, after a couple of years and experience, like you will really know when your body is ready for singing. And health is one thing. So, but it's also like, can I sing the hardest parts of my set and perform it at 100%? Or do I need to warm up a little more, because otherwise, like I will like just suck at this one note. So it's more for me. It's just like when when is the point when I can deliver my best performance easily, and I warm up to this point. And if you look at it like you described earlier, that when you have one show, you don't need to warm up as much, or that would probably, if that's true for a vocalist, I would say then the technique they are singing in is probably not the best, because they need rest phases, longer rest phases between the shows. I mean, rest phases are very important. So even like when you have a 3-week tour and you have like one off day here and one off day there, it's really good for the voice to have a rest day. But if you need breaks of 1 week or 2 weeks apart from a show, you probably should like refine your technique a little bit.
That makes sense. So after a show, should you be hoarse? I mean, should we have it? So you should be able to speak like you are to me right now after a 1 hour show.
Yes, definitely. And if you're hoarse, I mean, there are different types of hoarseness. Some are just vocal fatigues, and a singer will know what I'm talking about, where you feel like your voice is just like,
okay, just
tired.
Like,
tired, yeah. And maybe just like a football player who just came back from a game, like he would be tired, but it's not a degenerative being tired.
Okay,
it's more like you wake up in the morning and you're fine again. But a hoarseness typically is like when you like press your vocal cords together, or when they flap together like that explosively, and it's almost like bruising. So water will be in your vocal cords, and that makes them thicker. So when you're hoarse, your voice gets a little bit lower,
right.
And then you feel the voice creaks coming in, and then you're just like, oh, breathy and sore. And that's not how you want to sound after a show. No, definitely not.
So and in that explanation, that's literally a damaged vocal cord at that point.
Yes, it can happen, and it happens. And you also need to know like how to behave in when it happens, because everyone makes mistakes. Like I make mistakes on stage, even though I'm an experienced vocalist. But when it happens, like you need rest, sleep, water, and shut up.
So you can't. Okay, so literally, it's like after the show, it's a good show, great. You're not hoarse, but still, you need to minimize speaking. Or I mean, am I understanding correctly?
It's different for everyone, but I recommend to do a cool down.
Right, it's in the course, by the way, guys. He talks about the warm up and everything. It's all in there. Sorry, it's very fascinating because I don't know a damn thing about singing. So it's cool for me to, you're professional in your field, so I'm just asking these really silly questions. But yes, that's in the course. Warm up, cool down, breathing. There are even exercises with weight plates that she does to show you how to build up the diaphragm and the muscles. It's really great, guys. It's really fucking cool. If you want to sing, go get this thing. It's awesome. I'm just sort of asking dumb questions at the moment. So, yeah.
So regarding the cool down, it's good for two reasons. For one, it's just like it brings you back from the state of high energy and power into a more relaxed state. And also the cool down brings your voice back into a more subtle and more lower volume. So when you're on stage all the time, like, yeah, on the next song is like blah blah blah, you put a lot of energy into your voice, and also your hearing is set to hearing very loud volumes on stage, like the drums and the guitars and everything, and hopefully a crowd roaring. But you come off stage, and sometimes you stay in that kind of like energy level, and then you're speaking the whole night with that kind of voice. And over a long run, this puts, of course, more strain onto your vocal cords. And so the cool down is just, it's ending with a very soft hum, like, where your whole hearing experience will be more sensitive to lower noises. Then when you go over to the merch table and you sell your t-shirts and whatnot, like, you're not like in this yelling posture anymore. So you're actually like calm down, normal speaking. And yeah, I find this very, very helpful.
So yes, guys, the cool down phase is important. It does make sense, I guess, like in any other sport or sort of extreme endeavor. But you're talking about all these postures and breathing and cool down and et cetera, et cetera. I'm sort of would go on a ledge and say this stuff really didn't exist 20 years ago. I mean, if we listen to the old death metal bands from the 90s and stuff, are they intuitively using these techniques, or have things just changed over a couple of years, like old school to new school? What would you think?
I would say it's both. I mean, the breathing thing is not new to vocalists, but I would say that metal vocals and harsh vocals have nowadays more, they are viewed as a real technique someone can learn, and they are perceived as an art form. While I would say maybe like 20 or 25 years ago, this wasn't so much the case. Some people were belittling it. Some vocalists probably weren't even taking themselves in their technique very seriously, or maybe let's say goes 30 years back. So it was more like an expression of anger and rage, I would say. Maybe I'm doing some people out there wrong, so sorry for that. But that's how I perceive it. And nowadays, like, there are so many different styles of harsh vocals for all the different metal styles. Like a grindcore singer doesn't sound like a thrash metal vocalist.
Right, right.
And so to also serve the music and to take the vocals more seriously, all the techniques and all the refinement comes in. And especially the last, I want to say 5 or 8 years have been very exciting as a metal vocalist, watching like a completely new generation form with super intense and, I don't know, gigantic vocals. And it's really, I really enjoy that. So people take themselves seriously. They have the knowledge out there. They train, they take themselves seriously, and it just transforms into very complex art. And that's just so much joy to listen to.
I think art is a good word to put it, because in the course you also were mentioning like the stuff really isn't new per se. There's throat singing, folk singing, all these different sounds that, tribes and cultures have used for a long time. But now being able to sort of like, oh, by the way, guys, she sticks a microphone down her throat in the course so you can see what the vocal cords are doing.
It's actually in my nose.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah. Anyway, if you really want to know what your vocal cords are doing when you're trying to sing, now you can get a visual. It's actually really fascinating. It's really quite fascinating as a non-vocalist. I was just sitting here watching this going, huh, okay. And so you mentioned like old school, new, like in the last 5-8 years, new school, old school. So a guy like Corpsegrinder, who's been doing this for over 30 years, I guess he would be old school. But what would that mean? Like, oh, he's an old school singer. Like, is he using a different technique, or what's that mean for like a non-vocalist like me, so I could understand?
Wow, that's a very, really difficult question. I have never spoken to him, but and I have students who would love to sound like him. So from a teacher's perspective, I would be very curious to have a look into his throat and to just watch him up close, what he's really doing, because his technique, it's very unique for himself. Sometimes it sounds very breathy, and it sounds like that there's not much vocal cord closure going on. But I want to say that when you do something for so many years, and you're doing it with success, and you can do it over a long time, like on a tour, it's perfect. Just like, don't let anyone tell you that otherwise. But if it's like some sort of like you feel hoarse every night, then you should probably do something about it. But coming back to Corpsegrinder, I would say that he's old school because of the way the vocals go with the music. The way that he's articulating and phrasing sounds more old schoolish to me.
Okay, I get you.
It's really difficult to lay a finger on what is it exactly.
It's the neck.
It must be the neck. The neck definitely has something to do with
Corpsegrinder,
that.
if you ever see this Corpsegrinder, we both love the fuck out of you, man. It's all in good. We love it. All right.
Yes. Yes,
I have
yes.
nothing. I have all Cannibal albums. Been listening to you since '96. So thumbs up. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to sing but is just too damn shy?
Do you mean too damn shy to sing in front of him or
Just
herself,
just
or
just to do it. Like the first step is to try and make the sounds, because maybe your neighbor's gonna be like, "What's going on down there?" So to make the sounds, to make the step, to look at yourself in the mirror or record yourself, and then do it in front of others, just to make the first step.
the first step would be to know that when you listen to your voice in a recording, let's say a speech message, like a recorded message or something, and you feel like your voice is awkward, it's awkward to you. You hear yourself differently on the inside than other people hear yourself on the outside. So a part of your identity is kind of like estranged to the voice that you hear from yourself on the outside. And this effect leads us to like, ooh, I sound horrible, because we don't expect our voice to sound like that. And the only advice I can give that is like, repeat. Like record yourself, listen to yourself, record yourself, listen to yourself. You get used to that, and your brain will somehow do the magic and implement that aspect of how you sound from the outside into your identity, and then you won't feel as estranged anymore with your own vocal. And then the other thing is that I have some students who are a little bit, I don't know, hesitant to consume too much space. And space can be consumed with like just like spreading your arms out and just like, this is my space here, but also being vocal, being loud, and taking on space, like filling a room with your vocal. And this probably has something to do with the way that you perceive yourself. So maybe that's a vocal mirror for yourself. So take your vocals as a gift and embrace every sound that you can make, and just find a purpose for it. You don't have to sound beautiful in metal. So you have the freedom to like form every little creature, like be witchy, be a demon, whatever, and just find the right purpose for it. So your voice will actually not be wrong anymore.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's good. Cherry on top is just do it. just do it. She's completely correct about the voice thing, though, because I was born with a bilateral cleft palate, so I have a nasally type of signature to my voice, and I also have a hole in the top of my mouth, so I don't know if I could physically sing, actually. Like, if you need to create pressure in your mouth, the air just comes out my nose. I only know
Maybe that makes for some very cool, unique sounds that no one has ever produced.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
How do you sing like Scott? Well, you need a hole in your mouth, in the roof of your mouth. So, but that's a true thing. So, like, I did voiceovers for YouTube, and I was like, listening to myself for the first time. It's indistinguishable now. I hear my voice talk. It's exactly the same sound. So, but yeah, the shyness is, I get it too. People want to show me a mix. They're like, oh, I'm sort of shy to show you my mix. So, like, the vulnerability. So I was just curious what you would think about that. All the information you present in the training, which is a metric shit ton. Think back to when you were just starting, you just got the idea, like, oh, I can really do this. What's the single piece of information you wish you would have had that you've been given in this course that you would have known when you started singing?
The one piece of information, I would say that vocal health is coming mostly from your breathing support, or the most important key factor is how you breathe and project. And it's actually not here where you have to do a lot. You have to do a lot here, and you have to do a lot here, but you don't really have to do a lot here. That would be the piece of information.
Awesome. Because I thought you were going to say, like, oh, it's very important to do something here. Like, I don't know anything, as you can see. I'm not qualified to do this particular talk. But it's good. Now, 2 questions left. One of them is a bit serious, and the last one's goofy. So this question. So we take a non-vocalist like myself. I do mixing. I record. I mix people. What does a mixing engineer, a recording engineer, and a producer, what do they need to know about a vocalist in the studio so that they can stay healthy, so they don't get burnt out? What do we need to know to help you record better vocals?
Probably that a vocalist needs some time to warm up. So whenever, like, let's say a guitarist has finished and a vocalist can start, when it's on one day, then just give the vocalist notice that maybe like in a half an hour or an hour that they should prepare to start singing. And also maybe pay attention how someone stands in front of a microphone, because I see many people like overstretching their necks like that, and that's not good. Or like, I don't know, hunching over like that. That's, and like the posture tells a lot about limitations that you can hear in the voice. So the posture should always be like upright, and the neck shouldn't be like overly extended like that. So everything that you would not see in a classically trained opera singer, you don't want to see in a metal singer in a studio necessarily. So maybe remind them to stay hydrated. And the one advice that I sometimes hear from my students that they got from their producers is like, sing louder. And while there may be students or there may be vocalists who don't sing loud enough and they need to like speak up a little, when you tell that a harsh vocalist, the likelihood that they will just like excessively blow out and their vocals is risky. Instead, maybe pay attention that how open their mouth is, and are they really active with their lips. So you want to kind of over exaggerate how you pronounce things, rather than having like a boring face like that and giving like more and more air pressure out to sound aggressive. So you want to mimic an aggressive person in the face, but stay relaxed here. And that's like kind of like the balance that you have to find.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. So studio myth busting, warm water, tea, chocolate, honey, what's bullshit, what's real?
Well, since the esophagus and the windpipe is like two different things, I'm not really sure that anything that goes down into your stomach really has a direct effect on your vocal cords. So staying hydrated means like always hydrated, not half an hour before you're going to sing a set or before you're going to record your best vocal performance in the studio. So like the whole day or the whole week, you just pay attention to your water intake. And just as an athlete, you don't want to dive into cold water after warm-up. You don't want to dive into a hot pool. Like, don't drink hot teas or anything really hot that's like, I don't know, like it interferes with the blood flow and everything. And don't drink too icy cold drinks, just like pretty boring room temperature water.
Fair enough. What about one of those, I'm thinking in the word in Russian right now, and I can't think of the damn, humidifier. What about like a humidifier mask where now you're breathing the humidity and the moisture? Would something like that work?
Yes, but that's, I have that in my rescue package, so to say. So when especially in the winter time, or when you come when you have a fly-in show where you are in the air conditioning like for hours and hours and hours, like something like a humidifier or like something medical where you inhale, that's good for your vocal cords. Yeah, that will reach it, but not like on a, when you have a boiling hot water in a pot and you put your head over. Those little drips of water aren't even fine enough to reach your vocal cords. So that's, you can just, leave that. But yeah, a humidifier is good. Yeah, especially in the wintertime.
So if you could have a duet with any metal vocalist out there, who's it going to be and why?
I say Joe from Gojira. I love his vocal style. I would not be able to sing it and perform it like he does on a tour, because like I feel like he's putting so much into it. But it sounds great. I'm a huge fan of his vocals, also of his band, and I would definitely want to do a duet with Joe.
I thought you were gonna say Celine Dion or somebody, but okay. I mean, that's fine.
I wouldn't turn her down. No
Yeah,
way.
sure. She does the nice vocal, and you're just coming in here like, yeah. All
I'm
right.
pretty sure she could nail down some really, really awesome
Probably.
metal vocals. Like, I mean, all those singers, like where they go like, and they have this like jazz growl.
Sure.
That's a beautiful, beautiful approach for metal as well.
Man. So thanks so much for sitting with a completely ignorant non-vocalist person like myself. You're a really cool person, a really amazing course. All the information I ever could have wanted to know, it's all there. So really good job on that, honestly. A lot of respect to your ability to present the information clearly, concisely, great explanations, great examples. It's very useful for me. And even in the back of my head, I was like, yeah, maybe I can try this. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah, try it.
thank you so much for chatting with me. It's really awesome. You go ahead and give Cole a hug for me. He owes me a hug and beer, actually, but one of these days we'll get there. But is there anything else you'd like to say to people? Maybe about your band, some tour dates? Where can they find you? How can they book you for a one-on-one if they would like to learn more about their vocals, perhaps?
Oh, damn. Like, currently I'm like super booked out. Like, it's really like I don't know, like something like 65 students or something crazy like that. So I have a waiting list. If you want to join my waiting list, of course, like just get in touch with me. Yeah, there's like some news with tours coming up very soon. So maybe like watch my Instagram channel, watch my Facebook channel, but the news will be announced very soon. And yeah, take good care of your voice. And if you try out the course, just let me know how you like it.
This was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for jumping on. All the links to her Instagram, her band page, and all that stuff is down below. But most importantly, the course link is down below, which you should click and go get if you are a vocalist, want to be a vocalist, struggling to be a vocalist. And as you can see, she's quite personable, definitely knows what she's talking about. So get on the waiting list. It's always worth it to learn from somebody who's better than you, is doing what you're doing, and you want to be where they are. That's the quickest and easiest way to improve and get where you're going. Okay, so link down below. Go grab that. Grab it. Click. Okay, good job. All right, so that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.